in my soul. Where does the good shepherd resort with thy sheep to feed them in pasture? Ten thousand of angels rejoice, and make the way for His word. He speaks and eternity filled with His voice. Three echoes the praise of my Lord. Good morning.
Good morning.
We got our technology issue resolved, so it's good to see everyone. Thank the Lord for your presence. And as we often say, we thank the Lord most of all for His presence, because He promised to be in the midst of us when we gather in His name. We want to turn, and if you will turn with me to Matthew, the 25th chapter, and we want to read the parable of the talents. And I believe that there are some things, I want to read the whole portion of that, and then I want to go back and dissect it a little bit and see what the Lord wants us to glean out of that. All right, so we're going to start at the 14th verse of the 25th chapter of Matthew.
For the kingdom of heaven
is as a man traveling into a far country,
who called his own servants
and delivered unto them his goods.
And unto one he
gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1,
to every man according to his several abilities. And straightway took his journey. Then he that had received 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gave other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh, and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliveredst unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliveredst unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew that thou art a hard man. You're a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. And lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I had not strawn. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which has 10 talents. For unto everyone that has shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him which hath not shall be taken away even that he has. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now this is a pretty interesting and it's good, and it has good points and bad points. So
it's a very stern on the one sense, hand, and then it's very wonderful on the other hand. Now, what we have here, I'm going to start back at the 14th verse, and I thank you for allowing me to read such a long passage. It says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling into a far country, who calleth his own servants and delivereth them unto them his goods." So first of all, it's his servants and it's his goods. All right? That he is delivering unto him his servants and his goods. All right? And so he says here, he went away traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and then straightway took his journey. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to bring out. The Lord is giving. We talk about talents, and oftentimes when we talk about talents, we're talking about somebody's ability, right? This is talking about money. So he had individual servants, and he gave that servant, he gave 1 5 talents, 1 2 talents, 1 1 talent, and it was money. So he said, in essence, I want to see what you're going to do with it. Now, he knew and had a clear understanding of their capability, because he said, according to their several ability. So I have abilities that you don't have. There are things that I can do well that you can't do as well as I can, right? And there are things that you do well that I cannot do nearly as well as you can. And so a person that has watched his servants over a course of time would have a clear understanding that this guy is good at mechanical things. This guy is not so good at that, so I'm not going to allow him to do this. This guy can handle a lot of it. He can handle a lot of pressure. This one kind of crumbles under pressure. And so he's going to know what to give. I'm going to know what to give you, and I'm going to know what to give you, because I've watched you over the years. I have a clear understanding. So I want to say this is his talent. So it's talking about money. And so there's one thing that I want to put in money here, and then I want to put ability, right? All right. So in order for the work of God to go forward, those are the 2 things that we need, right? Those are 2 of the things that we need. Of course, we need the Spirit of God. We need the Word of God. We need all that. But I'm talking about as individuals, people that are actually endeavoring to go out and win the lost, to go out and talk to the people. There are 2 things that we're going to need. We're going to need some money. And I've learned that over the course of my tenure as pastors in various places. I learned that you cannot effectively pastor if you don't have money. All right? Excuse me. Maybe someone would say something a little bit different than that, but let me qualify that statement. You can do whatever it is that the Lord wants you to do. All right? He is going to make provisions for you to do whatever it is that he desires you to do. He's going to make provisions for you. But somewhere underlying all of that, you're going to need some kind of income, right? To take care of you, to take care of whatever it is that you're doing, and you're going to need some kind of ability. Let's use this as an example. If all of us came here, and one of the major parts of a service is that we sing praises to the Lord. And what if none of us could sing? What if all of us had this sound like a scratching on a chalkboard and injured cat and all this? Would the service take on a different feel? Yes. Would it have a different kind of aura to it? But there are people here that have different levels of ability in singing. Some have very beautiful voices, right? And some have just kind of mediocre voices. Somewhere in the middle. Let's just be real with it, right? We can hold a tune, but we don't really have anything that's impressive. But we can hold a tune and we can sing praises. And then there's some on another level that really just cannot hold a tune, at all. I had a brother that was, most of my family, I don't know if I've told you this story, but most of my family could at least carry a tune. They could, most of them some had really, really, I had like 3 sisters that had just exceptional voices. I mean, almost professional, to the point of professional, that they could have been on the professional stage. Their voices were that beautiful, right? And then I had most of the rest of us, we could hold a tune, and we had a little singing group, the Johnsons would get together and we'd sing, and we enjoyed it. We were fairly good at it. But then I had my one brother that could not hold a tune in a bucket with a lid on it. He just could not do it. And this was in his early days, and he was the only one. I was thinking when I was younger, I said, he's the only one in the family that just can't sing. He just can't sing. Well, let me tell you what he did. When he was younger, and he's my younger brother, and he was, and I only have one younger brother, so he would listen to the tapes of the Hatley singing, and he would listen to tapes of the Phillips singing, and he listened to tapes of different people singing. and he would just sing like them. He would just sing. He would try to sing bass. He would try to sing whatever it is. And you know what happened? He has one of the better voices in our family. Wow. That really is the truth of what happened. So when it says you got one talent and you utilize the talents that you have, and then the Lord gives you another talent. And so this in an ability that someone goes, and this is the first time that I've really seen it, to know it and to have my fingers on the pulse of it, that this individual could not sing. He could not carry a tune, but he wanted to. He had a desire to, and the Lord gave him what the desire of his heart. So the Lord gives us additional talents and additional abilities. So here's what I want to say. We all have talents, right? All of us have talents. There's something that we can do. There's something that every person that is sitting next to you is better at doing something than you are. It's just the truth. They are superior in some way to you. And we sit down and we talk about it. I don't care how bad you think they are. I don't care what kind of issues that they have. They are better at something than you are. And this is what makes the church wonderful, because we get together and we come to the understanding that there are things that you do that I can't do, and there are things that I do that you can't do, and so on and so forth. And we come to the understanding that I need you. I need you. I need you here. The Lord needs you. The Lord put us together, this little hodgepodge group of people with various talents, some not very grand or great, but the Lord had in his mind what he wanted to do, right? So what do we do? We say, all right, I want to ask you a question. What are you doing with what God has given you? God's given you something. He's given you some kind of ability. He's given you some kind of income. And let's look at it this way. There are a lot of people that are exceptional singers, and then you got folks that can sing a song. They can really sing a song, right? And they monetize their talent. And you know what I mean when I say monetize? In other words, what they've done, they've taken their talent and they have made money off of that talent. Now, if it's God's talent, if you're not giving it back to God, then what's that called in the real world? Is that called embezzlement? Is that called that you're taking something that technically does not belong to you? Lord, help us. So the Lord gives us the talents, and our responsibility is to give it back to him, to monetize it. And how do we do? And I'm using this in just general terms here, to monetize it, to bring it back and say, oh, all right, Lord, here it is. You gave me this ability. Now, what do we do at work? We go to work. We have different abilities at work, and we take that work and we monetize our ability. So this sister is good in technical things, right? And so she takes that technical stuff and she takes it and she's on the computer and she fixes all these problems, and somebody else can't do that. Somebody else doesn't have the ability to do that. Somebody works at the hospital and various places, that we take the things that God has given us the ability to do, and we turn that and we make that monetize it, for lack of a better word. So we take this talent, whether it's a talent of money, whether it's a talent of ability, we take it, and now our responsibility is to say, all right, Lord, here is what you gave me. Now I'm going to give it back to you. I only have one. I only do two things really well, but those two things that I do really well, I want you to be glorified in everything that I do. All right. So one of the things that I learned early in my spiritual career, when I gave my heart to the Lord, one of the things that I want, Lord, I'm going to give you everything I got. I'm going to give you everything that I have. I had a desire in my heart. You've heard the story, and I'm not going to belabor you with it. I had a desire in my heart to go out, to be rich, to be famous, to be all of these things. And let me tell you, I believe in the depths of my heart, I had the ability to do it. All right? I could have been now y'all might say, Brother Darrell, I don't know if you toot your own horn. You can say what you want to, but I believe in order to do something, you've got to believe that you can do it, right? Now, it can go beyond what it needs to go, but at some point, you got to believe, I think I can do this. Yeah. And I had that in my mind, not just since I was a child. I had it in my mind, ambition that the Lord gave me. And now this ambition and all this, I'm going to do it for my own benefit. That was my desire. I'm going to give the Lord a little bit of it, but ultimately it's going to be for my benefit. And then the Lord began to talk to me, and he began to say, listen, I gave you this ability for my benefit. I want you to be able to take that, and I want you to turn folks into converts for me. I want you to talk to people about Jesus. I want you to talk to people about what it means to really live for God and bring people to Christ. That's what I want you to do. I've given you a soul. Now I want you to give some back to me. I want you as a minister, as a pastor, as a saint of God. Now all of us are not ministers, right? All of us are not ministers as far as getting up behind the pulpit and preaching. And some of us wouldn't be very good at it, right? And some of us probably would be very good at it, but some of us wouldn't be. But God has given you something that you can go out to the world and you can talk to the world and you can say, Lord, you've given me this, and I want to take this talent and this ability that you've given me, and I want to make it work for you. All right, so all that we have belongs to the Lord. There's nothing that you have, no ability, no inability that you have that God did not create and give you. You understand what I'm saying? Well, I pull myself up by my bootstrings. Have you ever heard people say that? Well, you know what? God gave you the bootstrings and the ability to pull yourself up by them. So really, it's not you. It's really God himself, right? And so what you have to understand, and what we have to understand in this is that God has a purpose in everything that he allows to happen to us, and he has a purpose in the abilities and the inabilities that he's given us. Sometimes the inabilities that he gives us are just as important as the abilities, all right? You say, well, Brother Darrell, I can't do it. I've got inabilities. I don't have the ability to do this, right? I have inabilities. I just get really scared when I stand in front of people. I get really, I just can't do it. I'm frightful when I talk to people. Some people are like that, all right? But what can you do? The Lord's not asking you to do something you can't do. Do you notice that he said he gave us according to our several abilities? Not everybody needs to be up in front of people. And then sometimes the Lord gives you an ability because he wants you to understand you're going to need me to be able to do this. Now, I've probably told you this story too, but bear with me. I was a very shy child. My mother, when I started public speaking, she was shocked. And then let me tell you something else. I still get nervous when I stand in front of people. I've been doing it for 40 years, 40-something years. It's not an easy job for me. I make it look easy, right? Oh, Brother Darrell, it seems like this is the easiest thing for you to do. So let me tell you what happens. This inability that I have to be able to I could talk in front of 1 million people. And I'd be nervous, but I'd be able to do it, and I'd be able to mask it, and I'd be able to say what I need to say, right? But let me tell you what I can't do. And this is honest true, and I don't know why I can't do it, but I cannot sing. If you told me to start singing in front of you, it would be very difficult for me to do it. I can talk, but I can't sing in front of people. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. You?
Me. Huh? I have to swallow, and you can tell that I'm nervous. Now, I haven't had to do it. I had to force myself to do it, but I'm much better if I have a group. So why am I saying this? I can do it in a group, and I can just be one of a group, but don't ask me to sing a solo. All right? So here are the inabilities. The Lord gives you the inabilities as well. He realizes and understands that you can't do it. And so what he realizes and understands that you can't do it, but he wants you to understand that you need him to be able to do it. All right? So in other words, he said, I want you to understand that I want you to be dependent upon me. So there are going to be some things that I'm going to allow you, I'm going to not give you the ability that it comes natural. I look at some people sometimes and I think, oh boy, it just comes natural. Like there are people, and I won't call any names here because I don't want to incriminate anybody, but there are people that know no strangers sitting right in this room. I was with somebody the other day, went to lunch with somebody, and this person, you know who I went to lunch with. This brother knows no strangers, none. We sat down and talked to some policemen like we've been knowing them for 20 or 30 years, and they talk back to us. That's an ability that the Lord gives us. Now, what does the Lord want you to do with that ability? You have that ability where some people would just clam up, and I don't know what to say. I'm uncomfortable when I'm around new people, all this. But the Lord wants you to understand that he's giving you this talent, and he's giving you this talent for a reason, and he wants a prophet. if I can say a profit. He wants a return on his investment. That's more of a accurate way. He wants a return on his investment. Let me tell you something. We're here in Sacramento, and we're a very small group of people, right? And there have been some things that have taken place over the last couple of years, or the last few years, the last 5 years that we've been here, that the Lord wants us to understand that he wants to build a congregation here. And not just a small congregation, but he wants to build a larger congregation and that expands and that takes over Sacramento. I believe it right here, Church of God. Oh, well, they are doing it somewhere else. I'm not talking about somewhere else. I'm talking about right here. And the Lord has put together a little hodgepodge group of people. If you'll allow me to use that term, because I'm talking about me as well, he's put us together, and he's teaching us some certain things, and our job and our responsibility is to take the abilities and the monies and everything that God has given us and say, Lord, all right, when you come back, and the expectation that you have, that you've given me 2 talents, the expectation is that I bring you 2 talents more. He says that individually. He also says it collectively. He says, I put you together for a reason. Now, what I want you to do is learn how to be a team. Learn how to work together. Learn how to submit to one another. You're not just because I'm the leader doesn't mean that there is not times that I must submit to somebody else. And when I decide that, I'm the leader, I'm the pastor here, I don't have to do what nobody says, that is something wrong with that. When I begin to compete with this brother, and I'm one to be better than him, or brother Randall has a history, and I want my history to be better than him, there's something wrong with that. You never compete against other people. You never compete in the Church of God, in the spiritual realm. You are never competing against me. I am never competing against you. You're probably going to sing better than me. There are preachers that preach better than I am. There are people that pray better. There are people that organize better than me. I know my weaknesses. And I understand them. And I understand that there are individuals right here whose strengths are much greater in certain areas, and I am never going to compete against you. You know who I'm competing, who my greatest opponent is me. You know, they just had the Olympics. You know, when you're out there racing, you're not trying to beat so much somebody else. What you're trying to do is get your personal best. You're out there, you're running against everybody else, but guess who you're pushing? You're pushing you. You're not pushing them, and maybe you're inspiring them to go a little faster and a little farther and all that. There's an inspiration that happens when you are doing what God wants you to do. When you're there in the middle of doing what God wants. When you take your ability and I hear you sing, or I hear you pray, or I hear you preach, or I hear you do something, I am inspired by you. And you know what that does? It provokes me to say, you know what? If she can do it, if he can do it, I can do it by the help and the grace of God. They're doing something for the Lord's work, and the Lord is blessing them in it. And they want to hear those words that say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. They want to hear those words, and that's what I want to hear. There was an old Sister Catherine. I don't know if you remember her. Some of you probably do, Sister Catherine Wood. She said, you want to hear the words, well done, thou good and faithful servant. But the Lord's going to say, what have you done? What have you done? Can you say what you've done for the Lord? Lord, have mercy. That's the most important thing, saints, that the Lord wants. Listen, I gave you something. I gave you a talent, but I only got 1. Brother Randall got 5. So what? Utilize the one you have. Put it to the fullest extent. Utilize it to the fullest extent. See what God can do with the 1 talent that you have, with 1 person. May the Lord help us to realize that you can make a difference in what the Lord's doing here in Sacramento. You can. Well, no, we need Brother Darrell. No, you don't. You don't need me. I have the privilege of serving in the capacity as a pastor. But guess what? Guess if every single one of you decided that we're not going to be in church today because I just don't feel like it, or for whatever reason, who would I be preaching to? So who's more important? Me? The presence of God is more important. So we have to understand that. We have to understand that the Lord gave all of us something for a reason. So the work of the Lord, I've learned here, of course, since I've been here in this place and we've been renovating, there have been people that have the Lord's just blessed to give money. Even when we money's come in when I didn't realize where it was coming from. And there's this one person that is, there's a few people, as a matter of fact, that some I know personally are wealthy. They are wealthy. And then there are some that I know personally that they're wealthy. And then I know that there are some that are wealthy, and I've seen the results of them. And it seems like some have like the Midas touch. Whatever they put their hands to, it just turns to gold. And you know what they do? We've had a relationship, and they'll call me up and they'll ask me, if they hear something is going on, they'll call me up and they'll ask me, what do you need? And they can't be here and be involved in it. I had one to call me up and say, would you rather me, when we have the work day, would you rather me come there and work, or would you rather me send money? Because ultimately, I'm not very skilled at the things that need to be done, that you're trying to do. I'm not very skilled at it, but I'm gonna spend X amount of money flying out there and X amount of money staying there. Can I just send that to you? Where would you be best served? People say that to us. Why? Because they are concerned about the work of God. See, the Lord's given them a talent, 2 talents or whatever, and they said, listen, I want to make certain that talent becomes more. And I know another person, every time that there's something that needs to be done, they're willing to pull out their purse, their checkbook, write a check, and send it to the work of the Lord. They're not sending it to me. It's God's work. I reward them. Yes, I send them a thank you and appreciate. They say, and they don't even want me to thank them. They say, you don't have to send me a thing. I feel bad if I don't. These are people that have given thousands of dollars to the work of the Lord. Why? Because they have talents, and the Lord has given them the ability to make money. Warren Buffett is one of those. Warren Buffett doesn't send me money. I wish he did. But I'm using him as an example because all of us know him. Warren Buffett knows how to make money. So if you invest in the stocks and more Warren Buffett invested, you will probably make money as well. But the man just knows how, he has a talent and an ability to know what works and what doesn't work. May the Lord help us. There are some of us that have the talent and the ability to say, Lord, listen, I've got talents here. I've got ability. I want to turn this into where you get a return on your investment. I want the Lord to get a return on my investment. What if an investor, you gave him some money, and let's say you got a windfall and you gave him $100,000, and you told him to invest that money, and he, instead of investing, he put it in a safe in his office or under his mattress. And then 30, 40 years later, you said, okay, I want to get money. How much money do I have? And all he did is give you the $100,000 back that he gave you, that you gave him. How would you feel?
Not very good.
Wouldn't you feel upset? If you know if you have an understanding of compound interest, you can put a little bit of money in the bank, like when you're 20 years old, and you could be and not touch it and just add a little bit, maybe $50 a month for the next 30, 40 years. You'll be a millionaire by the time you're 50, 60 years old. By the time you retire, you'll be a millionaire, right? If you have an understanding of compound interest. So here's the point. So if you gave money to an investor and told him to invest this money for you and give you a return on your investment, and he did not do it, you would be pretty upset at the end of it, wouldn't you?
Sure.
But here's the point. God has done that to us.
Yes, Lord.
He said, I've given you something. What you have, you can turn it into something that's far more valuable than what I've given you. You can make this extremely valuable to the work of the Lord. Now, it may not be that I go and I can hold a tune. I'm not a bad singer. I'm not the best in the congregation, but I'm not a bad singer. Now, I know that. I understand that. But chances of me being able to go out and turn this into something that makes a lot of money is slim. There's a whole lot of hoops you got to jump through, and you got to be really careful about that kind of stuff. All right.
Yes.
But for me to say, right here in this setting, I can make a joyful noise and make a difference in how the song service goes. And not only that, but when somebody comes in, they say, oh, those folks can harmonize pretty well. they do a pretty good job. You know, it's a little different. Some people say it's a little different when we came in. They didn't have any instruments and they didn't do this and they didn't do that. But we can do pretty good, can't we?
Yes.
Lord, help us. Help us, Lord. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go a little further here. And it says here, now, one of the things I wanted to say is that the Lord gives us space to do. He doesn't just come and look over our shoulders and say, what you doing? Didn't I give you something to do? He don't say that. Has he ever said that to you? Maybe he does say that to you, but for the most part, he just lets you do it. But he's saying that to you through me today. He's asking you, what are you doing with what I've given you?
Yes.
It is what you're doing when I come back, and I'm going to reckon with it, and I'm going to write down, I'm going to say, okay, this is what I gave you. This is the ability that I gave you. This is the encouragement that I gave you. This is the inspiration that I gave you. Now, what did you do with it? You tell me what you did with it. Now, we're going to have to give an answer to that, aren't we?
Yeah.
And to one he gave 5 talents, to one 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. So he left. Then he said, then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded the same. So in other words, he got up and he started doing something. That's one of the things that I've learned. Let's just get up and do something. Sometimes we talk about it, and we talk about doing something, and we just talk about it. But we never get up and do anything. And so what the Lord wants us to understand is get up and do something. Now, if you don't know what to do, come and ask me. I've got plenty of work for you to do. All right. And the Lord wants you to understand that. And and if I can't tell you what to do, ask the Lord, Lord, what do you want me to do? Because the Lord knows your strengths. He knows your strengths better than I do and better than you do. Now, I think sometimes what happens in situations like this, anytime that you go to invest something, there is a risk that's involved.
Yes.
And so oftentimes why people don't invest, and I talk about people that of course, I've been in real estate for a very long time. And I say, people, you should always buy a house. If you possibly can buy a house, buy one. And why do I say buy a house? Is because the landlord can never go up on something that you own. You're the landlord, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a risk. What happens if I can't make my payment? Well, what happens if you can't make your payment and you're renting? Right? So there is a risk involved in any kind of investment. So I've known of people, and I've known of people, during the 2008 crisis, I know of people that lost houses. They lost them. Their house was foreclosed on because they were stressed out beyond what they could do. But still, would that prevent me from going and trying it again? No. Let's see if we can get it right this time. So what I want to say to you is that there are going to be risks that you're going to go through. There are things about what God is requiring you to do, but there are going to be some risks. There's a risk in me moving to California. Talking to my wife about it. There's a risk there. The risk is that it's much cheaper back east than it is here in California. But this is where God told me to come. And when God tells you to do a particular thing, God knows what he's doing, and God is responsible to take care of you. And when I get into a bind or I get into a problem, you know who I go to? I say, Lord, you're the one that told me to do it. So now you're the one that's responsible for this particular, whatever it is that I'm going through. And the Lord, you know what he's always done? He's always come through every single time. There's never been a time that he has failed me when I was doing something that he wanted me to do. So what I want to say to you, why do I say this? I say this to you because when you do what God is telling you to do, yes, you're going to have to get out of a place of comfort. Yes, you're not going to be comfortable all the time. Yes, there are going to be sometimes that you're going to have to step out, and but you have the ability to do it because God has told you that you have the ability. I wouldn't have given this to you if you didn't have the ability to follow through and make more. Whatever it is. I want you to understand that what you're doing, it could be more. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's go a little further. Likewise, he that received 2 had gained other 2. All right, it says, but he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. And after a long time, the Lord, whose servant cometh and reckoneth with him. And so he that had received 5 talents brought 5 others, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. And behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents. His Lord said, well done, thou good and faithful servant, thou hast been faithful over a few things, I'll make thee rule over many. He that received 2 did the same. Now, I want to get down to the one that received the 1. So there is this expectation. First of all, God has an expectation, and his expectation is whatever he's given you. He has expectations. All right? Now, we have expectations of God, don't we? If we pray to the Lord, we ask him a particular thing, we have expectations. We're enjoying the benefits of salvation. We're enjoying the green earth that the Lord put us in, but the Lord has expectations of us. And oftentimes we don't look at it like that. We don't see that, okay, I've given you this. Now I have expectations that you're going to do something with what I've given, just like our parents. When we were children, our parents had expectations of us. You're not going to go lay down and sleep all day Saturday. Saturday is the day to clean up the house, right? You want to eat on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? You want to eat tonight? Then you're going to do, there's some expectations that we have, that the parents have of their children. There are expectations that our Father which is in heaven has of us. So he says, and at some point, did you ever used to do this? Your parents went to town and went to did something, and they said, when I get back, I want you to have such and such, ABC, done. Okay? I get the bathroom cleaned, and they're going to come and wipe, look whether or not you did what you're supposed to do, clean that window sill, behind the toilet, all that kind of thing. They're going to do that, right? Yeah. They went away, and then you come back, and you got to playing with your friends, and your buddies, and you forgot about it, right? You forgot about it. Now, what's going to happen? You're coming back, they're coming back, and you hear well, we would hear the car gravel, because we had a gravel driveway. Y'all got these, now we got these concrete driveway. We had a gravel driveway. You heard the cars turning into the gravel driveway, and now you're in trouble. So now you're going in there throwing all kinds of stuff and trying to get everything done, but it's too late, isn't it? It's too late. Mama knows you didn't do it, and she walking in, and what's she doing? She's just looking. She's looking at all the stuff that you didn't do. You know what? There was an expectation that you did it and you didn't do it. There was a benefit that you get from staying in this house, right? You putting your feet under my table. I'm paying for all of this, the bed that you sleep in. There's some expectation. So now what happens? Now the Lord's coming back and he's saying, okay, I have expectation of you. You can hear the car turning in on a gravel driveway, and the Lord's about to come, and now he's going to reckon with you and see what you have. Some of us got whippings when Mama and Daddy got home, didn't we? You know why? Because I told you. There's something about the way mamas could do it. They could just kind of look at you, point that finger at you, and you knew you was in trouble, and there wasn't nothing you could do. Nothing you can do. Lord have mercy on us. But you know what? We don't want that to happen with the Lord. All right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, okay, listen, this is just a reminder, y'all. The Lord ain't going to whip you. And let me tell you what else he said. He said the person that had 1 talent, they didn't even have to bring another talent. They didn't have to double their money. All they had to do was take that 1 talent and put it to the usury and get interest off of it. That's all they had to do. They had to do something. They had to do more than nothing. So the Lord wants us, he wants you and me to do more than nothing. Now, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't be doing and what you should and shouldn't be doing. I'm not here to do that. That's not my job. That's above my pay grade. What I'm here to do is say, you need to be doing something. And whatever the Lord tells you that you need to be doing, that's what you need to be doing, right? All right, Lord, help us. If you want to hear the word, well done. Now, sometimes people want to say, how did I do? Oh, you did pretty good. We say that nicely, right? You did pretty good. That wasn't too bad. The Lord don't have to be nice to us.
No.
And sometimes we say that, Lord help us. We're not lying. We got to find something nice. Well, it was
Good try.
Good try. Nice. No, it was nice. It wasn't too bad. We say niceties like that, right? But the Lord don't have to say it. He said, no, I know what you had the ability to do. And you did not perform it. I gave that to you according to your ability. I knew exactly what you have the capabilities of doing. And you failed to do it. So therefore, if you fail to do it, the Lord is not going to be nice about it, right? He's just going to tell you what you got to do. All right? We're moving toward our conclusion here. He's not going to say, well done, if you didn't do well. He's not going to do a half truth and say, oh, good try. He's not going to say that. He said, no, you didn't try hard enough, because what I gave you, if you had even tried, you could have done something. Lord, help us. All right. All right, so it says, Lord says, his Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things, I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou in the joy of the Lord. So there is a reward to all the work that we do. We may not get it here, and I have to say that there's great reward. When you're doing something that you are good at, there's a reward within itself.
Yes.
You're doing something that you enjoy, there's a reward there. And then you get a reward when the Lord comes. You're going to get a reward. All right, so here's another scripture that I want to, let's turn to Romans the 12th chapter, 3rd verse. It says, for I say through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God has dealt to every man the measure of faith. So every one of us, there are some people that I've seen, and I've been in places that I have this sense that people are competing against me. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
You're in a setting, and somebody's trying to outdo you, and they're trying to, and it's like, why are you trying to outdo me? Who am I that you're trying to outdo? Because they think, and I think sometimes people talk about other people because, and try to pull other people down because of the inferiority that they have about themselves. They feel inferior themselves. And so as a result of them feeling inferior themselves, rather than building themselves up and saying, look, I got to do better, they're going to pull you down. All right, if I can't sing as well as you do, if I can't do whatever you do, if I can't do it better than you, so what? Teach me how to do it. Make me better at what I'm doing than I am right now. If you'll do that, then I'll feel better about myself. Well, I can't do it like them. I know I can't do it like them. But let me tell you, there are some things that they can't do like me. So I'm going to read something that Adam Clark wrote. He said that the talent which each man has suits his own state best. So the talent that you have suits your state best. And it is only pride and insanity which leads him to desire and envy the graces and talents of another. So it's insane for me to believe it's insane for me to envy you for whatever you're doing because I can't do it. I envy you. No, I can't do that. It's insane. And it's pride. Lord, have mercy. And people do that all the time. May the Lord help us. All right. So now let's go to John 12:42. It says here, John 12, verse 42.
Nevertheless, among the chief rulers,
yes,
also many believed on him.
Many believed on him.
But because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him.
They did not confess
lest
him.
they should be put out of the
Lest
synagogue.
they can be put out of the synagogue.
For they love the praise of
They
men.
love the praise of men
More than the praise of
Be
God.
careful about getting man's praise.
Yes.
You want the praise of the Lord. What you want to hear is, well done, thou good and faithful servant. You don't want somebody to slap you in the back and say, you're doing pretty good, Daryl. No, I don't want that. I want the Lord to say it. And if you never say it to me, if you never, and I've learned that this is the best way to live your life, not caring what people think or say about you. There is a liberty in that. There is this great liberty that you have when you're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, and you're not trying to make everybody wants, you're trying to get everybody to like you. There's something wonderful about that. I have to get God to like me. And let me tell you, I do everything in my power to make certain that he likes me, that I hear those words, well done, thou good and faithful servant. I do everything in my power to do that, to hear those words. And if he likes me, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. And I don't live my life like that. Lord help me. All right, a couple other scriptures and we'll be done here. He said, the Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap. So he said, I was afraid and hid my talent in the earth, because he knew what kind of man he was. But you know what? If you have a different perspective of God, the wrong perception of God, you're going to act in a wrong way. God is a loving God. He loves you. He's concerned about you. He's not going to whip you and beat you and force you to do a particular thing. He's going to encourage you and love you and lead you. That's what he's going to do. And but this guy is saying, Lord, I knew what kind of man you were. I knew that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sowed and gathering where thou hast not strong. So I was afraid, and I hid my talent in the earth, and lo, there thou hast that is thine. He said, I'm just giving back what you gave to me. But here's the problem is he gave back what God gave to him, but he was enjoying the benefits of all that God, all of this master had done. Lord help us, we're enjoying the benefits of it. So what does the Lord say? The Lord says, you're just lazy, that's all. You're lazy. He said, wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sow not, and gather where I have not strong. Thou oughtest to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury. He didn't have to do much. He just had to do something. And that's all that it is for us. We don't have to do much. We have to do something. And as we do that something, the Lord blesses us and the Lord encourages us and we get inspired. And I'm inspired and we inspire one another. I'm inspired by others. You think that what I've done for the Lord, whatever little bit that I've done for the Lord, has not been inspired by somebody else? Somebody else inspired me. I saw somebody else do it, and I said, if they can do it, then I can do it by the help and the grace of God. And then the Lord put this little bug in my ear, this little thought in my mind, and I go forward endeavoring to please the Lord, because you know what? The Lord's coming soon. Yeah. We don't say that often, but it's true. He's coming soon. And he's going to come. It's just like Mama and Daddy when they drive up in the driveway and we hear it's going to be too late for us to start doing stuff then. So what do? We start doing it now. So the Lord, what you have to learn is, okay, Mom and Daddy, they're going to be gone for I don't know how many hours. Let's get the bathroom clean, and then we can play the rest of the day. That's how you do it. Yes. And that's what we learn. And after a few whippings, we decided that, and what did it took? It took a few whippings for us to learn, okay, they're gone. As soon as the door closes behind them, let's get the work done, and then we can do what we want to do. And that's what we should be doing for the work of the Lord. May the Lord help us. There are consequences to our failure, but we don't have to fail. We can ask the Lord, Lord, I'm trying to do what you want me to do, and if you'll help me to do it, I'll do it by the help of the grace of God. So what we're saying here in this discourse here is that there are talents, and in order for this congregation to grow, we need to utilize those things. We need every person on board utilizing what God has given you. All right. Well, Brother Daryl, I don't do this as well as you. You're absolutely right. You don't do it as well as me. So we're not going to let you do that. You're going to do this because you do it much better than I do. May the Lord help us. May the Lord help us to see that this is what the Lord wants. God has a purpose for all of us being here. He has a purpose for that. And to me, what I was telling different individuals, I feel like the Lord is preparing us for what he has. Yes. And part of what he has is for us to realize, okay, there's an expectation that he has for you to utilize what he's given you. Yes. And when you utilize what he's given you, there's a return on an investment. You can double your money, so to speak. So, and one thing, I know Brother Norm, one of the things that he does, he goes out and hands out tracts. He's probably better at that than most all of the rest of us, right? That's what the Lord has for him. Brother Randall, what does he do? Brother Randall goes out and he talks to people, complete strangers, and talks to them about his story. That's what he does. He does it very well. If you want something done, you want to seek to get something, talk to Sister Karen, because you know what she's going to do? She's going to find a resource for you. I will. Somebody those are, I wouldn't be able to do that. You want something done? There are things that you can ask every person here that has the ability to do it, and don't be jealous of somebody else's ability. That is none of your business, right? That other person has abilities that you'll never have, and you have abilities that they'll never have. That's the talent. Take what you've got and monetize it, so to speak. Put that in quotation. Make it work for the Lord, not just for you. Make it work for the Lord. Pray for me. Amen. Thank you for your time and attention. Let us stand and have a number. Someone that has these out, right? Good opportunity. 239.
Take my life and be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my hands and let them move and be impulse of thy love and the impulse of thy love. Take my feet and let them be swift and beautiful for me. Take my hand, let me see always only for my King, always only for my King. Take my lips and let them be filled with messages for me. Take my silver and my gold, none of my food I withhold, none of my food I withhold. Take my home and my days, let them flow in endless praise. Take my intellect and use every past thou shalt choose. Every past bless your children. Take my will and make them known. It shall be so long. Take my Lord in thine own. It shall be a royal throne. It shall be thy royal throne. Take my love, thy Lord, I pour, and thy feet its treasure store. Take myself and I will be ever only all for thee, ever only all for thee. I will follow thee, my Savior, wheresoever my love may be. Where thou goest, I will follow. Yes, my Lord, I'll follow thee. I will follow thee, my Savior. Thou hast shed thy blood for me. roll,